What's going on, y'all? Y'all know who it is. It's Collar Pot Sean from Soundproof Hunger Room. Today we're doing something a little different, a little special. We're doing an actual debate on politics, something that we teeter in here and there, but today we're actually doing a debate with a couple of friends, and we have friends that are on opposite sides of the candidates of Harris and Trump. And first and foremost, we want you to understand that we are friends. We're cool. We've had these discussions before, so if it gets a little heated, understand it's not something that is emotional or, you know, a lot of people tend to put a lot of emotion into politics, but I think the conversations need to be had. And so that's what we want to aim to do today is just have the things out there. We're not trying to change each other's minds. We're at the age to where we pretty much are comfortable where we are. And that could be a good thing or a bad thing. But we want to make sure that we have all angles covered. So today, that's what we're going to do. We're going to have this debate with some friends of Soundproof Hung Room and personal friends. So I hope you get in here and enjoy.
Okay, everybody, welcome. Now, I'm gonna go first with the with my presentation, and right now, we're waiting on one more person. He might pop in during this taping right here, but right now we have the honor to have two parts of the hunger room, soundproof hunger room. I apologize, everybody. I'm always mixing up, man. But anyway, so we have College Park Sign and Orlando Crespo. And Afrorican, I apologize, brother. I knew you had a nickname,
They know.
man.
They know.
So here we go, man. I don't know if the audience know that I'm an independent, and with being an independent, in my point of view, is that you try to pick the person you feel is the best. But I have to give a disclaimer. I've been a Democrat all my life. So right now, I'm gonna get into the video. And before I get into the video, I want people to keep in mind is that right now, in this angle, I'm talking about immigration and some of the things that we are not understanding is that we got to take the things that's happening right now and look forward in time and see how it's going to look. And if we look back in history sometimes, is that do you remember when the Italians came over after World War II? Who did they bring with them? They brought their gangsters with them. And they took over. When I say they took over, they settled in neighborhoods and they had strong men. And those strong men was able to, the Irish took over the police department, and each people that immigrated into this country took over a certain sector of this country. And as you know, they became rich, they became powerful. And we're looking at something right now, which we all say that, well, I'm convinced that the majority of immigrants that's coming from Venezuela, is that's the majority of immigrants that's coming here illegally, is that is the Venezuelans. But the question is, are they bringing their gangsters with them? So I'm gonna get into the video, but before I get into it, let's talk about our leaders. In the video, it's gonna talk about the boule. The boule is our fraternities and sororities, and as you know, back in the day, they was pretty powerful. Not powerful, but they was prestigious. And now, as our young people are getting into these into the boule, they call them Divine Nine, whatnot. I'm not knocking them, but I realize is that they are almost acting like a hierarchy to us, and they are, people might say, selling us out for positions and status. So in the video, the woman at the end is going to talk about the boule. So you can research the boule and who they are and how they became. So I want to talk about the politics here in Georgia for a second. We have two senators as Democrats, and we had one Democratic opponent last election cycle when it came to governor, which was Stacey Abrams. She was a darling. She had her everywhere. But the question is, where is she right now? And that's what the things that I say about what made me independent, because our Democratic leaders only around when they want your vote. And we got to look at when they was office and what they did. So I'm explaining the video. The first video is going to talk about the crisis. The second part is going to talk about barbed wire fence or razor wire that the Republicans put up to even slow down people crossing the border. And then the Biden administration told them to take it down. And now the Republican governors have said, okay, if y'all don't want us to slow down people coming in, we're going to ship them to your sanctuary cities, Chicago, New York, and places like that, because you really don't know what's going on until it happens in your neighborhood. So, I mean, gangsters. I told you about, they send in the gangsters. I'm not saying they're the bad people. The majority are probably great people. But if you look at one situation, as we see in the black community all the time, is I'm going to do what I got to do to take care of my family. So if they're here in your city and they can't work because they don't have a work permit, and they are, getting assistance and vouchers to even eat, and you head of a family and you barely speak the language, you're going to do what you got to do. But the problem is the Republicans said, but y'all don't understand, we're going to send these people to your community and see if they say they're going to do what they got to do, take care of their family. So it could be good people turned into bad people. So I'm going to go ahead and click on the video and enjoy.
New York has a legal obligation to offer shelter to everyone who wants it. But the current influx of migrants and asylum seekers is putting that to the test. They came from around the world, making often dangerous journeys to a city they hoped would offer them better lives. What they've found is a city whose migrant crisis is at a breaking point. An intake center at the historic Roosevelt Hotel in Midtown Manhattan has been filled to overflowing. Many have been sleeping shoulder to shoulder on concrete sidewalks. Mayor Eric Adams has called for federal assistance.
We need help. We need help, and it's not going to get any better. We put buses there for cooling systems, but it's just not sustainable.
City officials say the shelter system has been overwhelmed by the nearly 100,000 migrants and asylum seekers.
Lori Lightfoot sending a letter to Texas Governor Greg Abbott urging him to stop sending migrants here to Chicago.
Yeah, this comes after word that even more people could be sent here from the Lone Star State. NBC5's Lisa Chavarria is live with what we know so far this morning. Lisa.
Well, JC and Michelle, the mayor's office says that it's learning that Texas Governor Greg Abbott is planning on sending even more migrants starting today to cities across the U.S., including right here in Chicago. That's why she sent a letter to the Texas governor saying that his push to score political points is really pushing the city of Chicago to a tipping point.
Legal battle at the southern border over razor wire installed by Texas officials to stop migrants. The Supreme Court tonight giving the Biden administration a win in its effort to remove that wire fencing. Laura Jarrett is here. Laura, what's the practical impact of this?
Lester, the upshot is that Border Patrol agents should be able to start cutting down or moving this razor wire that Texas officials had installed at the border, and they should be able to do it right away. Now, the Biden administration had gone to the high court over this, arguing the fencing's impractical and dangerous when migrants get stuck in there.
I'm a constituent of the Gage Park neighborhood. Since June, you decide to turn our park into a shelter. Our community is running lawless with illegal Venezuelans taking over our streets. We feel like prisoners in our own homes. As a taxpayer, we can't even enjoy our own park anymore. We are unable to take walks. Our amazing programs have been removed, especially for the disabled children that live near this park, our neighborhood. Unlike the illegals, as a legal immigrant myself, I know what I had to do to enter your country. I was required to do a background check, vaccinations, pay an expensive fee, bring a work letter from my previous job. Shall I go on? Some might be good, but the others are here to cause trouble. For example, my neighbors had their car broken into, packages stolen from their front yards, and someone pee on my property. Yes. I'm requesting Alderman Vasquez, Mayor Johnson, and
you appointed a deputy mayor of immigration because we have a refugee immigrant crisis. You've been having a crisis in the city. Where's our deputy mayor? A bunch of boulets sitting here, okay? A bunch of bullets sitting here. And Vasquez, you are an alderman. When have you stood with your people out there protesting? I saw you 2 Saturdays ago at Pritzker Park at 4:30 p.m. Why you find the strength to protest with them? Okay? I don't see how, and I hate to play the race card, but the government has given us no other choice but to play the race card. And stop asking these people for anything. You're supposed to be demanding. Okay? But you know what? Once they done using you to lead us to slaughter, they're going to put you in the grinder next. That's how it always happens. And don't play on our emotions with Harold Washington, okay? Because he did do a great thing. But what you did in March 23, that was a slap in the face to all Americans, not just black Americans, okay? The reason why I bring us up is because we are in a national crisis, okay? But when anything is of scarcity, they take from us first. That's why we are in here so loud, screaming in your ear every week about our issues.
Well, I think personally, it's, America was founded by immigrants. So to fast forward to today, I think it's a lot of propaganda for the Republican campaign to sway voters. That's pretty much what they're using it for, to sway voters to say, hey, enough is enough. Maybe Trump can do something about this. I think that the immigration is prevalent in the Southeast, in the Northeast, in California. We all going through the same situation. And those that don't complain, it doesn't apply to them. As long as immigration isn't affecting me, I could care less about it. And that shouldn't be the approach. People are coming to America in dire need of refuge and a better life. And the way these refugees are being treated is inhumane. I blame the Republican Party for that. I think the Harris campaign can actually help these immigrants. It'll take a while, but nothing's going to be done overnight. We definitely need some help.
That's it. That's all you got.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I want to start like where he kind of started with saying that America was built, and I won't say off of immigrants. It was built off of slaves. There were already people that were here, and they were also enslaved. But it was built off of people that were slaves that were brought over here and built it. So I think America was already built on a false pretense of, oh, we're America and we're doing this and we're doing that. And they've carried that mantra and tried to force that idea on other countries as well. And they also want to give out this whole idea that, hey, come over to America, start your whole new life, and this, and that. And that happened for quite a while. But now I think both parties have failed to understand that, with borders being completely open, because let's not get it twisted, you have people that still fly in by planes from Europe and other places, other third world countries that fly in that they don't report on, and that's where media comes into play as well. but that is the most prominent that you see come down at the border. And what I find interesting is that even within all of those people coming in, they send them to the inner cities. They don't send them anywhere in affluent neighborhoods or, things of that nature. They send them to the inner cities, which as a nation, the government cares nothing about inner cities. So if you bring in an influx of people that doesn't have sufficient means to get a job, to be able to contribute to society, you just throw them in the inner city because they're going to look the other way anyway, and then they'll use those stats to say this is why this city is failing. So I look at both parties as being a failure with that situation, and then it also goes back to being a political ploy, because at the end of the day, they're going to be the minority at some point. All the people that's in power now are white men. And with you bringing all of these immigrants over, at some point they're going to be the minority. And so I don't think that they're looking at it in that sense. I think right now people only look at what's happening in present time, and they don't look at how it's going to affect people later on down the line. So I think both parties and the nation of America has failed in that sense completely.
Okay. All right. Y'all brought up some good points, man. And I'm gonna, of course, I present it. So let me throw some caveats in there. And my caveats is that would you say that they also brought their strong men with them, as in people that are gangsters? Like, for instance, we all remember the movie Scarface, and that was like given to every black man in the 80s. Scarface. Everybody watched Scarface. It's like a given. It's like a cult classic to the American black gangster. Now, how did Scarface end up in America? He ended up in America. I'm going to go ahead and answer it. He ended up in America because Castro emptied his jails out because they didn't have resources for them. So they said, well, take your ass to America or take your ass somewhere else. That's what he said. And it was an island. So somewhere the closest place from a boat was America or United States. That said, is that the same thing with Venezuela. They are going through a crisis that people are starving in Venezuela. So being a prisoner, they don't take care of prisoners, people that broke the law. They're said that it's lawless there. I haven't been there. So it's safe to say they open the prisons up. So they bringing in gangsters with them. And gangsters and people that did violence and crime, they do turn over another leaf. So I'm not going to cast a blanket, but they are bringing their strong men and their gangsters with them, just like the Italians did. And one of the things that America did is that they always choose, not always, but I would say everybody has a preference. So right now, I'm assuming that we're the biggest minority or even the second. I'm not sure. But the problem is that the thing is that United States tend to favor other minorities over us because we have a history. We have a history. And that being said, is that do you think America, when they see that there's no stopping this thing, do you think, give me a second. Do you think that they're going to prefer the Venezuelans because when people are hungry, you can mold them a certain way? And majority of people I see on my fault. You go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Oh, one of the things I see on camera, they don't show they strong men. I got a few on the next, what you call it, I'm gonna show. They strong men are in the prisons. When I say strong men, people that committed the crimes are still in cars and still in packages. They put them in the system, and guess what they're gonna do? Just like if I go somewhere, if I go to Europe and I see somebody from California that's a black person, we're gonna link up. So long story short, once you're in Venezuela and you're in prison, what's gonna happen? Y'all gonna link up. Y'all are going to become a force. But my point is that I'm gonna summarize this, or even ask y'all questions. Do you think they were organized, even though they couldn't get it, even though it's a possibility they couldn't get along in their country? Do you think once they reach here, they're gonna organize and become a force?
Who, the
Uh,
Venezuelan or the just refugees in general?
Right now, the majority of refugees are coming from South America, but
Right,
they said the biggest one is Venezuela because of their country.
right. When you have an influx of people that's migrating towards the United States or wherever the part, wherever they may come from, everyone's intentions aren't good. If they're wreaking havoc in their own country, it's hard to break that mold. It's give or take. Nobody's coming to the United States. Everybody's not good. I get it. Like you said earlier, there are some good people coming over with strong intentions, wanting to achieve the American dream or whatever that may be. And then there are some people with bad intentions coming over here with terrorist ideas and stuff like that, wanting to terrorize the inner city. And how Sean so eloquently elaborated earlier, he said, hey, if they're in our inner cities, they don't care about that because they don't really care about the inner cities. Once that shit starts affecting suburban America, that's when you grab people's attention. That's when the antennas raise up. Or when it hits close to home. When it hits the heartland of the United States. Sure, there are bad people everywhere, Curt. But will they form some kind of alliance for a hostile takeover or whatever? You never know. I pray Homeland Security or whoever, or the police department or law enforcement will enforce certain rules and regulations to prevent that.
um, I want to start off with a quote. Something one of my favorite people said. Denzel Washington said, if you pray for rain, you got to deal with the mud. So when you get an influx of people, of course, you're going to have some people that literally are here to do well and try to take care of their families, but you're going to have some people that was in the crime that is going to carry over into where they go to. Do I think it'll be to where they can take over? Hell no. We have one of the strongest armies in the world. I'll say it again. We have one of the strongest armies in the world. And at some point, we will have to impose that will if it gets to a point to where we see a quote-unquote uprising to where refugees have come in and tried to take over. I'm sure it happened in certain cities and this and that. And again, I hold America to the fire on being able to go in and douse those flames immediately and not try to, pussyfoot around it. It needs to be addressed immediately and directly, and make sure to send the message that if you come over here with the foolishness, then we got to send you back. And I will say that I do have issues with the way that America is handling that situation now by giving out this money and giving them, a lot of them just places to stay. Whereas as a black man, we still haven't been able to get these type of things for ourselves. And we've been here and built this country, but yet we can have immigrants that can come over, or refugees. And of course, again, you got people that come over here out of pure need, and then you have people that come over here to try to, take advantage of situations. So, yeah, in closing, America needs to do a way better job in policing the immigrants when they get here and not just willingly giving away all this free stuff to them, and have the protocol in place in order for them to be able to submerge themselves into society and be a contributing citizen.
Okay. I'm gonna bring my segment to a wrap. Is that a close? My fault. Is that I heard what y'all said, and maybe I didn't make myself clear. When I say take over, I mean take over that community, just like the Italians took over a certain part of New York. Now, if they, like for instance, the Republicans or the rural America that was by the border was screaming every year, "Look, we can't keep up with the resources with all these people that's come over the border. We need you to tamper it down for us. Help. And I remember seeing it, like Orlando said, if it didn't happen in my community, I didn't pay attention to it. But somebody on that side, the Republican side or the conservative side, say, you know what? I got a plan. Send all those people to sanctuary cities. And that's when I woke up. I'm not saying that everybody's waking up to it, but now, me being somewhat of a guardian of my community, I can see if this trend continues, something's bad going to happen in our community, and it might be too late. We might be in free fall. You can't be in free fall for so long until you can't correct it. So I'm gonna go ahead and move on. It's time for Sean to present.
Okay. When we sit and we talk about the candidates, Trump and Harris, it's hard for me to understand why any black person, especially black men, could still want to stand behind this guy based off of character alone. And that's what, I wanted to focus on in this video, where, I take it back a little bit when Malcolm X, because a lot of people that, claim to be pro-black and this and that, Malcolm X is definitely somebody I hope that they listen to or at least try to get something from. But Malcolm X said, if you're black, you should be thinking black. And there's absolutely nothing I could say about Trump that would lead me to believe that he thinks black. He's definitely not. And let's be honest, politics is politics. But at least I want to know that somebody can at least blow the smoke in my face and say that, hey, I'm going to try. But Trump has not done that in my eyes. And he's proven historically and through his relationships with the type of people that he deals with that he definitely isn't for black people. And I think this clip would kind of further that and let you know exactly what I'm speaking of.
Back in time to the Republicans' vice president to Donald Trump, J.D. Vance. The portrayals, unfortunately for Lace, are rather accurate. In the year 1990, Vanity Fair wrote his ex-wife Ivana, who, as we know, was buried on one of Donald Trump's golf courses in order for him to save a few bucks. Ivana Trump told her lawyer Michael Kennedy that from time to time her husband reads a book of the Big H's collective speeches, My New Order, which he keeps in a cabinet by his bed. Oh, that's revealing. Then there's the horror stories of this man you see on your screens, ex-chief of staff John Kelly.
And I have to tell you, when General John Kelly told me the story of Trump's praise for Hitler, here's John Kelly. He's a retired Marine general, served in the military for more than 4 decades, is a Gold Star father. He lost his son in combat in Afghanistan. And he told me, he would sit across from the president at the time, praising Hitler, praising Hitler's generals for being loyal to him. And he would be flabbergasted that he has to remind Trump, the president of the United States, what Hitler did. I mean, Kelly said to me, he said, I can't believe he forgot the Holocaust.
There was also the time Donald Trump referred to his political opponents as vermin and spoke of illegal immigrants with the following line, quote, they are poisoning the blood of our country. He would follow that up with, in his own words, this quote, they said the Big H said that. Then from ABC, after insisting the Big H used the words in a much different way, Trump went on to make the blood reference again. It's true. They're destroying the blood of the country, he would say. They're destroying the fabric of our country, and we're going to have to get them out. In other words, Trump's response, when criticized for using the Big H's language, was to acknowledge the criticism and then to double down and use it again. These are not unfair critiques, Mr. Lace, they are actually warranted. He employed Sebastian Gorka in his cabinet, per 3 people that spoke with NBC News when they traveled to Hungary, specifically where Gorka is from. They found that Gorka was a member of Vitezi Rend, During the war, the State Department listed Vitesse Rend among a group of organizations under the direction of the Schmazis in Germany. Very revealing again. Trump also employed Stephen Miller, who had emails uncovered by the Southern Poverty Law Center showing his promotion of white nationalist literature, pushing racist immigration stories, and obsessing over the loss of Confederate symbols after a murderous rampage. Tell me again, which one is worse, Mr. Lace?
Okay, we're back.
First, let me give credit to TYT Sports. Follow them on YouTube. That's the Young Turks Sports on YouTube. So I just want to give credit to that video.
Copy that. Do you want to ask us questions on, like, how we feel about it?
Yeah, you go first, Curt, because I know this is, like I said, we're debating.
Okay, for sure.
So
For sure.
Go ahead and opine.
Yeah, real quick side note. Hey, Orlando, unmute your mic because you muted. You muted yourself. Okay, you unmuted. Okay, so check it out. So, listening to the clip, I agree. Trump has some questionable people around him, and he has said some questionable things. And also, he said he did some things for the black people back in the 80s. And people evolve, people change, and people really don't have, like, people on his level, when I mean level as in wealth, sometimes have a different way to view things. But to be real, be brief, is that, so I can get y'all in here, is that we all remember Lawrence Taylor. And Lawrence Taylor had a substance problem. And it's safe to say everybody that was on his team wanted him as middle linebacker, even though he was out of control, I heard. I don't know him personally. But that being said, I just believe we need somebody at the helm that is willing to do what you got to do. But like you said, what is his personal views? So I remember they asked General, I forgot his name, they call him Mad Dog, whatever this Caucasian general. They asked him, and they normally ask generals this right here. They said, "What keeps you up at night?" And he looked in the camera and said, the question should be, I'm paraphrasing, "I keep other people up at night." But that being said, that's my intro, my rebuttal. Not really rebuttal, but kind of like my angle of it.
So you rather have this person that you're saying pretty much the world could fear dictate all of humanity based on how he feels. You rather have someone that's pretty much crazy that can hit the red button because he's not having a good day or whatever.
Well, nah.
You want him to run the free world, and I get it, because I understand you can't be too nice in the world. Nobody can, right? True. Your allies and your enemies, or whoever the case may be out there, they should be like, you know what, the United States does have this hothead over there. Let's scale back on what we're doing over here or whatever, because I know he's capable of X, Y, Z or whatever. Now, when you bring it to the domestic side, when you're talking about the United States, having him pretty much dictate how we live over here, and all that could be found in that Project 2025 and him pushing his agenda if he's elected. Now, I haven't read all 800 some pages, but it was a few notes that stood out to where I'm like, hey, wait a minute. You know what I mean? This is who you rather have in office.
Okay, that's a question. If I had a choice between protecting my house with a knife or a gun, I'm gonna choose the best weapon.
Okay.
So,
okay, I see what you I see what you're saying. Listen, that Project 25 Give me one. I'm gonna keep it real brief. The Project
Okay.
25 is just to simply alter the balance of power by increasing the president's authority over every part of the federal government.
Well, the thing is that, and you know what? I heard about the Project 2025. I haven't read any parts of it, but I know, well, in my opinion, if you don't have a plan, then any plan would take over you. Right now, we don't have a plan at all.
So
As
you
let's say,
How do you
go.
know we don't have a plan? And who are you talking about when you say we?
Okay. I'm gonna make it twofold with two people. The American people in whole, as a whole, as in unity, unified together, we don't have a plan for that. And I'm also talking about black people. We don't have a plan generally together. Now, if somebody got together and made a plan called 2025, they have some type of organization that I disagree with.
they're called MAGA extremists, which is going to control over your whole life.
Okay, what's our plan to counter that?
To not let it go.
To not let it go through.
Okay, I mean, like let's say I'm a chess player, not a great one, not a good one, not even a good one. Is that I know while I'm playing chess, you can play defense all day long, and if you don't have an offense, and once once in chess, you realize that, man, I got to get this person on defense. So if we don't have no type of offense, can you imagine having your defense, using a football analogy? If your defense is on the field all the time, how can you score?
Curt,
The
if you're
defense.
gonna use sports, they would tell you offense wins games, defense wins championships.
Okay.
So if that's what you want to use with sports, we're gonna go with that. But also, if you're gonna apply that to how a nation is run, that in turn, and I'm just being hypothetical. So now you're saying if we don't have an offense and we just continuously on defense, then we should be out, like let's say the immigration thing we were just talking about. We should be going down to Venezuela and telling them stop sending folks over here and implementing some kind of system or some kind of force over there to tell them, hey, y'all don't bring no more people over here, and we gonna set up shop down here to make sure that y'all don't do it. Is that what we should be doing? Going off of the theory that you just said, without an offense, just being on defense all the time is a failure.
Well, to answer the question, that's one of our chief, some of our chief strategies that we say all the time. It's best that we fight them over there than to fight them over here. Like we will go, our military is so strong that we can lift a whole battalion up and have them in your backyard by next week, and make sure everybody eat, all our soldiers. So to answer your question about Venezuela, should we go on to Venezuela? I mean, they are doing things that, like they have an app set up. I mean, this might sound kind of weak, but they have an app set up where instead of crossing over, you can apply for asylum through the app before you come over, But that being said, to answer your question, because I'm long-winded, to answer your question, yes, it's best to fight people on their soil than your own soil.
Okay. Sounds like dictatorship to me, but hey, that's what you want to do. Fine.
Well, you gotta have
I know it's hypothetical. I know that wouldn't even happen.
You see how that worked out for Rome, and But go ahead.
Well, no. You have a second video. You want to play the second video?
No. You go ahead. You got play your. Didn't you have another video?
No, I only had one.
Oh, okay. All right, yeah. You can go ahead and play the second video.
Okay, let me cue it up for you.
Based off of you want me to do another intro for it?
No, you can if you want to. Kind of like preface it a little bit.
Okay. Yeah, I can do that real quick. All right. The second video is literally again me just talking about Trump's character versus Harris's. I think a lot of times now, again, like I said earlier, I'm amazed at how black men are okay with wanting to vote for Trump based off of his character, based off of some of the things he's done recently. even throughout his presidency, and things that he's still doing today, which I'll kind of talk about a little bit later after the video. But this video, I just want to kind of, all the people that just say, hey, I'm not voting for Harris because of this, and that. I'm going to vote for Trump. This is how I feel about that. Cue the video.
Fucking simple with me. Until Kamala Harris go to jail, until Kamala Harris become a convicted felon, until Kamala Harris file motherfucking bankruptcy 6 times, her and her company, until Kamala Harris is impeached twice, until Kamala Harris is indicted 4 motherfucking times, until Kamala Harris is found liable for sexual abuse, until Kamala Harris is found guilty of motherfucking fraud and got to pay $300 and some motherfucking $1 million, until Kamala Harris start a motherfucking insurrection, until Kamala Harris try to overthrow a motherfucking election, until Kamala Harris is married 3 motherfucking times, until Kamala Harris have 5 kids from 3 different motherfucking men, until Kamala Harris do any of that, she's a better motherfucking candidate to me. Now you do whatever you want to do with your motherfucking vote. But I'm not voting for no motherfucking rich white man to be able to do whatever the fuck he want to do. I'm just not doing it. I don't hate motherfucking women that much. And I damn sure don't hate a black woman that much. So you can vote for a motherfucking AKA, or you can vote for the motherfucking KKK. You vote for whatever motherfucking K you want to motherfucking vote for. That's your motherfucking business. But Trump been telling you since 2017, he gonna show you that motherfucking healthcare plan. Has he shown you yet? He been telling you since 2017 that motherfucker coming in 2 weeks. It's gonna be big. It's gonna be beautiful. Has he showed you yet? He told you he's gonna overturn motherfucking Obamacare. Did he do it yet? He told you Mexico gonna pay for that funk ass wall over there. Did they motherfucking pay for it yet? He told you he's gonna raise motherfucking minimum wage. Did he do it yet? He was gonna lower the motherfucking price on prescription drugs. Did he do it yet? But she need to motherfucking explain something. She don't ever talk about her. Yes, she motherfucking do. You just don't want to motherfucking hear it. That lady told you she trying to get $25,000 a motherfucker who trying to buy homes. Trying to build 3 more motherfucking million homes. Trying to lower the drug prices for everybody, not just the elderly. Trying to get tax cut to the middle motherfucking class. That like trying to no tax on tips or whatever the hell it is. That lady telling you what she trying to motherfucking do. You just don't want to motherfucking hear it.
Okay, so he said his point of view, and I think his point of view is coming from somebody that might know other things more than politics. I almost said sports, but I don't know if he likes sports or not either. Because
I'll give credit. That was Plies on IG.
Okay.
Just give credit to the video. All right.
Okay. All right. Yeah, for sure. Plies on IG. Thanks for looking out. And we have all these links in the description. So now, with his point of view, really don't talk to what's going to happen in the future if we continue to be in this free fall. Because I heard New York is spending $90,000 a month on an immigration situation because they are putting people up in hotels. And of course, hotels want to make money. So hence, they like, okay, yeah, bring them over here. We're sending you the bill for that. We're sending the taxpayer the bills for that. And, there are communities or people that are Americans that need help, but you're going to give resources to people that cross the border illegally. Like the woman said in my video, is that they don't have shots. They, like for instance, like they're coming from countries that might have smallpox or might have certain situations because their country is in anarchy right now. And there's no shots to Venezuela, but there's a reason why you're here, because they feel like it's a better life here. Like people, well, anyway, I won't be long with it, but my point is that I think some of the things he said, he's buying into the same rhetoric that Stacey Abrams and Senator Warnock is giving us. They say, well, we're going to make the rich pay and, all this. And then once they get elected or unelected, they're not around anymore. Like, where is Stacey Abrams? They're gonna bring her out to tell you to vote, and she's gonna crawl. That's an insult. She's gonna go back to where she came from. So that's my angle.
Don't word out Stacey Abrams, because it's a possibility she may run for election in 2026. I understand she lost both races to Kemp, but when you lose in that manner, Curt, you have to understand how it was taken from her. We all know that politics is a dirty game, and the way that ended, it could be mentally devastating. It could drain you. It could take you out of politics pretty much. That woman was simply robbed of that campaign, of that race.
Okay.
She also stated that politics is a fancy word for how we treat each other. Government is nothing more than an assembly of people deciding who we value and how we are going to show who we value. That is nothing but the truth. And when those out there that are indecisive and don't know when to vote or who to vote for, or just say, I'm not voting at all, we decide not to participate. We're deciding to let someone else tell us who our people are. So we got to do our due diligence, man, and our civic duty to go out there and vote. Oh, it won't count, won't do this. I get it. Local elections matter most. But I'll be damned if I'm going to stand by and have my ancestor who sweat blood and tears and got sicked on dogs and shit for us to have the right to vote, not to do my part, man. If you could wait in line for J's for 3 or 4 hours and 2 days and online, you could sit up there at the polling booth and sweat a little bit and cast a vote for 2 minutes. That's just my take on it. Stacey, I believe she's going to run that thing back in 2026, and she will be governor of the state of Georgia. We on the brink of history, ladies and gentlemen, and I wish Al was here. There's a blue wave, a woman's wave from coast to coast. I said it before. That's going to sweep this country. And there's a new level of enthusiasm in this country right now since Biden bowed out. And why wouldn't you want to be a part of that? And those that don't vote, I believe they'll throw that, kind of similar to throwing a stone and holding your hand. I don't care who wins, but let's see if the sister gets in, what we'll do, what she'll do, or whatever. Don't do that. Either you in or you out. Now, my take is, as far as our foreign policies and stuff, as far as that goes, out there in the Middle East, having a woman in that stature, how receptive are they to a woman being a commander in chief? Some women here in the States don't want to see a woman in power, a black woman at power. And stop telling me she's not black. You're entitled to your own opinion, but that's a black woman running for office.
Well, a woman of color. My fault.
Woman, yes.
Okay.
We got women all across the globe that are prime ministers for other countries.
That's true.
And you know what? Maybe it's time for this country to be ran by a woman from their perspective. We slowly getting rid of tradition. I'm all for change. I'm not narrow-minded at all, but we're entitled to our own opinions. That's what makes this place beautiful. We got the strongest military in the world. You could talk all you want about the United States. Move somewhere else and don't like it. Ain't no place like home. Let me know how that worked out for you.
True.
That's just my take on it. Go ahead, bro.
Let me talk
Good
about
comment.
a few things. First off, Curt, you keep bringing up Stacey Abrams and what she's doing now, or like you would say, what she, once she lost, she just went away. First and foremost, she was single-handedly responsible for turning Georgia from a red state to a blue state. So she made sure that all of the dirty tricks that politicians do, when they started changing the voting requirements here in Georgia, she made sure she went and did what she had to do to make sure that these people were able to vote despite all of the things that were put in place to try to quiet down the black vote, literally. Also, the person she ran against, our current governor, Kemp, he was Secretary of the State at the time, so he shouldn't have even been able to run. That was a conflict of interest. But again, politics comes into play, and if they want somebody in play, they're going to make it happen. So that's the Stacey Abrams thing. Secondly, with that, when do we hold this same accountability to these other people? It just seems like even with Kamala, oh, give us details on what you're going to do. Give us details on this and that. Give us this. Give us that. I need something for my black vote. I didn't hear this sentiment when Trump got into office. I didn't hear this sentiment of what I'm going to get for my black vote. The only person I know that did that, and then even at that time, people wrote him off for trying to do it, was Ice Cube. When he came up with this platinum plan, and he said, you know, the Biden administration didn't even want to talk to him, and the Trump administration did. Outside of that, I didn't hear too many echoing the what am I getting for my vote, because if that were the case, and I feel like if that were the case, a black man wouldn't go to Trump and say, what am I going to get for my vote, because he has shown you that he will say whatever he has to say in order to get his vote and to do what he wants to do once he gets into office. Ask the little preachers that came and sat up there with him what he did for the black churches. They talked about the money that he gave to HBCUs. He gave money to the HBCUs, and the Biden administration, they damn near tripled or quadrupled the amount of money that he gave to the HBCUs, but he'll tell you he was the one that saved HBCUs. What people need to understand about Trump is that he is going to do what benefits him the most across color lines and anything of that nature. And people always be like, oh, he's not racist because he did this for black people, or he did that for black people. For people that say that, I say you probably work with some racists, because when it comes down to making money, white folks are going to do what they have to do to make their money, whether it's on your back or somebody else's back. So they can not stay in your guts. But if you making money for them, they're going to do what they got to do to make sure it happen, and they're going to go home and talk about you at their home. You know, and we do that too. So you can miss me with he not racist. Okay, the video showed how he's in cahoots, and he always employs people that have ties to KKK. His family, damn it, his dad was, you know, hanging out with one of the Grand Wizards. Come on now. These are traditions that are passed down. Also, another thing about Trump, and I'm sorry I'm going on this spiel, but I just
It's
want to
okay.
get it
It's
all
okay. It's okay.
I want to get it all
It's
out.
okay. It's okay.
You know, we talk about Central Park 5. These guys that he took out a whole page in the New York Times to talk about how these guys was guilty and they should be you know, killed, basically, in jail, only to find out that they were exonerated because the evidence was there that they were wrongly accused. And
That's
they
right.
got out. They did years. They got out. And to this day, he still stands on they should have been killed. Okay, that to me tells me is somebody that doesn't know how to deal with truth, but more so wants to be right all the time, regardless of what the facts are. And that's part of what the problem is in today's world. People don't care about the facts. They just want to sound right, or they want to be right. And you can be wrong all day, but if it sounds good and you got enough people to follow you with it, they're going to continue to follow you. Another thing, Trump just did this the other day. He went to the Arlington Cemetery to lay some wreaths for some fallen soldiers, and he went into a sacred area where they don't take pictures, they don't do video, they don't do any of that stuff, and they told him, hey, you can't do that stuff in here. They roughed up one of the security guards and told her, we're going to do what we got to do. And he went in there, literally recorded video and took pictures for political, not something that
against the law.
Right. He broke a federal law just to take pictures to make a political video, or political propaganda. Well, I don't want to say propaganda, but yeah, political campaign for himself. So now you're telling me, which goes along with the insurrection, you're telling me you're bigger than the law. And he has shown that time and time again to say that I am bigger than the law and I can do what I want to do That's why he got the Supreme Court is stacked. He killed Roe versus Wade, and now all of a sudden, oh, it's time to vote again. And I see the American people prefer for Roe versus Wade should have been in place. So now I'm okay. I'm gonna create some laws to protect the IVH or the in vitro thing or whatever it is now. But you kill Roe versus Wade. That's something very concrete that you just turned all of a sudden. Why? Because it's voting time. So that tells me you don't care anything about the people. It's about what you want to do for yourself. He also said if he gets back in office, you won't ever have to vote again. Sounds like a dictator to me. So again, I don't understand how black men can stand behind somebody like this who does not care anything about you. He cares about himself and what he can do for himself. And he uses all of that stuff as a guise to say, okay, I care about America. The hell you don't. I'm done. Go ahead.
Curt, hey, come on, preacher, pass that offering plate around here. Pass that offering plate around here.
Hey, man.
Hey, I hear you.
Well, look here. Well, look here,
Curt,
man.
let me, before we close out,
Go ahead.
Curt, I have a daughter.
Uh-huh.
I have a wife.
Mm-hmm.
With his stance on reproduction rights, that would solely affect how they manage their bodies or allowed to receive treatment and stuff like that. That holds a lot of weight in the Kamala Harris campaign.
Okay.
Would you want someone that Project 2025? You want that to hang over our children and our family's head like that? If that were implemented.
Okay. Like I said, I haven't read 2025. I only heard about it and some bullet points on it.
Mm-hmm.
All I know. Well, to answer your question, no. First, to answer your question. The second part is, okay, what is our counter plan?
We can counter that if Kamala is elected in the office. Simple as that. They'll extinguish all of that.
And okay, all right. Now
your wife or your daughter could receive care and wouldn't have to leave the state to receive care if something like that were to happen.
You mean abortion?
Sure.
Okay.
That's a sensitive topic, but I mean,
it is. Maybe I shouldn't have said the word, but but the thing is that y'all mentioned Roe versus Wade, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, is that a law or is that a court ruling?
It was a law based off of a court ruling.
No, it's still a court ruling because laws are not named like that. Laws are made by the other branch of government. And what happened is that there was a case, Roe versus Wade, and the Supreme Court ruled on it. Once they ruled on it, it let the floodgates open to. Anyway, I want to get into the specifics of it, but the third branch of government, that the judicial branch, their job is to interpret laws. And they did interpret the law when it came to Roe versus Wade. But the thing is that all the Democratic, well, I should say, people that's for pro-life, that had people in power that backed them, they should have made a law when they was in power, because nobody wants to, believe it or not, nobody wants to really touch this situation, because we need a law in place. And once a law is made to govern this topic, a federal law, and then it can't be a situation where the Supreme Court can come in and interpret, make a law, because people think that Roe versus Wade is a law. It was an interpretation of a case. So all the times we had people that was pro-life, and me myself, I was pro-life. Now I was to be pro-choice. Now I'm more. Now that I'm an older man, I'm pro-life.
But Curt,
so,
I'm sorry. Let me jump in. The thing is with that is that was in place for 50 years, and the average American or the average human would say that it's just for a woman to be able to decide whether she can have a baby or she wants to abort a baby. So that's why I don't think it ever came to a point to where other candidate or other presidents say, "Oh, we got to do something about that." But for whatever reason, Trump decided, "I am going to change it," and he stood on it. That was one of his platforms. I'm going to kill Roe versus Wade. Why?
Mm-hmm.
Why? Because you around here grabbing girls by the pussies. You got all
Mm.
these women with these lawsuits against you for sexual harassment. Like no other president sought to go and get rid of that judgment, as you would say. So you're correct. But why would you go and change something like that when the American public and the popular opinion is to let women have choice over their bodies? So nobody looked at it to say we need to make it a law because nobody thought it was unjust to anybody except for Trump.
Okay. Well, not just Trump, of course, but the thing is that you're saying that the third branch of government, which is judicial, their job is to interpret the law, not make laws. That's the second branch, which is, I'm assuming the first or second branch is to make laws. And you saying that people should let it go or let it alone, leave it alone, because the third branch, which their job is not to make laws, their job is to interpret it. So hence, I agree, maybe their decision was a quick fix, but now as times change and situations change, it's time for Congress to make a law, because that's their job, is to make laws. And to my understanding, one of the ways that they got rid of Roe versus Wade is that the Supreme Court ruled that power should go to the states. And that's one of the reasons why. And like, mind you, that decision killed Roe versus Wade, because Roe versus Wade was a federal decision by the Supreme Court. Now, the Supreme Court to my understanding, didn't kill Roe versus Wade. They just decided that these things should be decided by the states and not the federal government, which effectively got rid of Roe versus Wade. Because now each state is a sovereign country. So now that puts the ball back in the lawmakers to make a law, to debate the law and to agree and to vote on it. And that's where the power should be. That's their job, is to make laws. And believe it or not, because we've been going for a long time. So how about our next topic is about abortion? So we've been going for like an hour and like 16 minutes, so we got to wrap it up.
But you're gonna need a female perspective on that.
Okay, well, let's get one. Let's get one.
Definitely.
So let's go ahead and give y'all the last, because I had my little spiel at the end. So let's go ahead and give y'all last takes on things. Who wants to go first?
I'll go first.
Copy that.
Ladies and gentlemen, people, November is going to be real interesting. So have your popcorn ready. Straight up.
It is.
You know what I mean? I encourage everybody to go out there and be a part of that change, man. No matter who it is. We still family. I respect you, whatever the case may be. Any race, creed, or color. But these are the conversations that we must have, and have them at our dinner tables with our family and friends. Not to judge one another, but just to get a shed light on what really matters most. And
Good.
we can't change things if we don't change it. If we're not going to be a part of that change. I appreciate the opportunity. Always a pleasure to talk to y'all, brothers, man. I'm here if you need me. And y'all be safe out there, man. I love y'all. Appreciate y'all.
Love you too, brother. Appreciate your point of view. Big Shine, wrap it on. Bring us on home, man.
In closing, I always like to emphasize at least having the knowledge of history. and to understand how important it is as a black person or a minority to vote, because that's something that we didn't have a right to, because we weren't considered as human beings here in the United States of America. And if you look at history, you will see how we had to fight in order to vote. You'll see how even at the local, what a lot of people don't know is that we were able to get the Voting Rights Act in '65, but we were still unable to vote at local levels in certain states, which we were just talking about, the federal court giving states, things of that nature. So, again, knowing the history and understanding that voting in your local elections are just as important, if not more important, than the presidential election. So in order for us to see change, we have to start at home. We have to start doing homework on the people that's around us, the people that's making the rules in the legislature in your city, in your neighborhood, and then you can move forward trying to get the proper people in those bigger spaces. So when we get to the presidential election, we're not sitting here saying, well, what are they going to do for my vote? Or we're doing the lesser of two evils. And that usually has been the sentiment in the last few years. And a lot of people stand on the line. But I also say that we're here now. So you can either put up or shut up, okay? Because if you're not going to participate, I don't want to hear your complaints. I don't want to hear all the things you got to say if you're not going to participate. Now, I'm not telling everybody what they should and shouldn't do, but I say this. Know your history, do your homework, and make the right choice. And I'm not leaning here or there, because I also feel like there needs to be a bigger push behind the independent party as well, so it can be more than just a red and blue. So in closing, do what's best for you and yours, which usually comes down to what people say anyway. I need to do or vote for the person that's going to help me. So we already know what one person did in office. We don't know what the other person is capable of. Hey, man, we appreciate y'all for hanging out with us and listening to this debate. We kept it kind of soft. We didn't go too hard. We'll probably do it again because there's a lot of topics we didn't get to touch on. But again, we appreciate everything y'all do for us, for checking in. Like I said, look at us on YouTube, Soundproof Hunger Room, IG, Soundproof Hunger Room, Facebook, Soundproof Hunger Room. Check us out. We go live every Monday evening at 7 p.m. Like I said, go to the YouTube, subscribe, like, all that good stuff. Hit the bell so you'll know every time we come through. And again, I appreciate you, and we hope to see you there. Hold it in the road.